Hello everyone. Today let's see the types of poetry, whatever we have left out. Actually, we are seeing the types of poetry from the first one that is narrative poetry and then epic poetry, lyric poetry. Lyric poetry is of four types. That is, what are those? Sonnet, ode, and then elegy, and then song. Song and then elegy. Yes, in the last video we have seen that. And today let's see the continuation of the types of poetry that is pastoral poetry, concrete poetry, and doggerel. Yes, let's see what is pastoral poetry. Let's see what is pastoral poetry. It celebrates the beauty and simplicity of rural life, that is, village life, often presenting an idyllic view of nature and shepherds. In the pastoral poetry, we can see the village view. Let me give you an example. It is Christopher Marlowe's The Passionate Shepherd to His Love. It portrays a shepherd's invitation to his beloved to live a carefree life in nature. In this poem, a shepherd invites his beloved, the loved one, to live with him in nature. He uses imagery like valleys, hills, flowers, and rivers. And he romanticizes the rural life, that is, village life, as a peaceful and perfect one. This poem presents an idealized fantasy of country life, and there is no hardship, no difficulties, no obstacles, only beauty and love. It shows how pastoral poetry often ignores reality and creates a dreamlike rural world. Let me give you another example that is Lycidas. Lycidas by John Milton. Already I have told you a work written by John Milton that is Paradise Lost. Also, he has written another work that is Paradise Regained. Now, let us see Lycidas. Lycidas is an example for pastoral poetry. In this poem, he writes an elegy written for Milton's friend, for his friend, right? The author is writing an elegy for his friend. Elegy, in the sense, it is a sorrowful, mourning song. He uses shepherd imagery to represent the poets, and he mixes the pastoral setting with sorrow and philosophical reflection. Even though it's about death, Milton uses pastoral symbols like shepherds, flocks to soften the tone of the poem. This shows how pastoral poetry can mix nature with deep emotions like loss and spirituality. And the third example that I can give you is The Shepherd's Calendar by Edmund Spenser. Yes, Edmund Spenser um, is the one who belongs to the Renaissance period, and he has written this poem, The Shepherd's Calendar. It is a series of poems about rural life across months, and he focuses on shepherds, seasons, and nature. Here, Edmund Spenser uses rustic life to explore love, religion, and politics. It's not just simple nature poetry, it reflects human concerns through a pastoral setting. So, this is pastoral poetry. I've given you three examples: The Passionate Shepherd to His Love by Christopher Marlowe, and then Lycidas by John Milton, and the third one is The Shepherd's Calendar by Edmund Spenser. Let's see what is concrete poetry. Let's see what is concrete poetry. Poetry which is having the visual arrangement of the words on the page that contributes to the overall meaning and effect is called concrete poetry. You can have the word, this word, wait, let's take a pen. You can have this word in your mind for this one, for concrete poetry. You can have this word visual arrangement for concrete poetry. Let this be a keyword. Concrete, in the sense, it is having a good construction and a good arrangement, right? So the poetry will be having a good arrangement. So that is called concrete poetry. If you have this keyword in your mind, you can be able to remember whenever concrete poetry comes to your mind. The best example is George Herbert's Easter Wings. It is a concrete poem in which the arrangement of words imitates the shape of wings. Guys, it has been printed sideways in the shape of wings. This poem narrows and expands like wings, symbolizing fall and redemption. The visual shape reinforces the spiritual message that this is concrete poetry. Guys, I hope you would have understood this poem. Herbert's Easter Wings has been printed like the shape of wings, and it shows that this is concrete poetry, right? The second example is the mouse state. Wait, let me write the mouse apostrophe mouse's tail. The Mouse's Tale by Lewis Carroll. Let me write it in a short form. Lewis Carroll. Actually, this one is from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This poem is shaped like mouse tail for while being in appearance in print in printed way. If we see, this would be shaped in this would be shaped like a mouse tail, and the narrowing line visually represent the tail while telling a story. The humor and structure together create meaning for this poem. And the third one is I A by E. E. Cummings. Let me write this one. Actually, at first there will be apostrophe I A apostrophe. This is by E. E. Cummings. Okay, I A by E. E. Cummings. It is a very short poem arranged vertically, vertical in sense from top to bottom. It visually represents a falling leaf and loneliness. Um, this poem represents that when a leaf falls, there comes loneliness. When a leaf is falling, that represents loneliness. Here, the author E. Cummings is representing loneliness through a leaf that falls. The fragmented structure makes the reader slow down and interpret visually. So I've given you three examples, that is George Herbert's Easter Wings, Lewis Carroll's The Mouse's Tale, E. Cummings' IE. And the next one is Doggerel. Doggerel is a simple comic, often irregular poetry. It is a light, humorous, or trivial poetry often characterized by irregular meter and rhyme. This is having an irregular meter and rhyme. Example is we can take the Edward Lear's The Owl and the Pussycat. It is a whimsical example of doggerel poetry telling the story of an owl and cat. Sorry guys, here it has to, here I should have given space little, I didn't give. Of an owl and a cat who set out to sea in a pea green boat. Yes, these various types of poetry showcase the diversity of form, style, and themes that poets can explore to express their ideas, emotions, and observations in creative and impactful ways. Yes, guys, let me tell you, doggerel is a playful and humorous and sometimes deliberately crude or irregular, as I told you before. Here, I've given you the owl and the pussycat. Let me tell you another example, that is Alice Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll is also an example because it has lines like twinkle twinkle little bat, how I wonder what you're at. So these two lines, it represents, sorry, we can see the doggerel in these two lines. That is, this is a parody of a nursery rhyme. It uses simple rhyme and rhythm, often silly and nonsensical, typical of doggerel, because there is an imitation, and also um, here the little bat comes and what you are at comes. So it is a nonsensical and often silly. So it's having a simple rhyme and rhythm. So um, this poem involves the doggerel type. This poem has the doggerel type. So let me read the lines again. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you are at. And the third example is Hudibras by Samuel Butler. It is a satirical poem with exaggerated rhymes. Butler uses intentionally awkward rhymes for humor and criticism. Yes, there'll be awkward rhymes for fun. So he uses in this poem. Doggerel here becomes a tool for satire. Satire in the sense the author will be using the humorous sense to say something to his uh, opposite people in the sense those who are opposite to his sayings and words. I hope you would have understood satirical sense to say something to his opposite people. They use this doggerel and they write poems with fun, humor, and criticism. So that's what it's called, a satire. And the fourth example that I can tell you is Comic Verses by Ogden Nash. This poem, Comic Verses, is by Ogden Nash. Here we can see the two lines that is, if called by a panther, don't answer. So while reading these lines itself, we can see there is a fun and humor impla sorry, there is a fun and humor employed here, right? And this poem is very short, witty, and irregular. Ogden Nash bends grammar, rhyme rules, showing how doggerel prioritizes humor over structure. So these four, The Owl and the Pussycat by Edward Lear, and then Alice Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Hudibras by Samuel Butler, and Comic Verses by Ogden Nash. Let's sum up, guys. What is pastoral poetry? It is having a key feature of nature and rural life. Rural life, in the sense, it is village life. Tone is the tone of the poem is idealized and peaceful. The main focus of this poem is shepherds and nature. The next one is concrete poetry. Concrete poetry is the one that is having a visual arrangement of words. So it is having a key feature of visual shape. Tone of the poem is artistic and symbolic. The focus of the poem is um, in the form itself, we can find the meaning. That is, I have told you in Easter's Wings, George Herbert has printed the poem just as in a sideways, just like wings. So, from the form itself, we can be able to understand the meaning of the poem. So that's what is it's called concrete poetry. And the third one is doggerel. Doggerel is having the key feature of simple and irregular rhyme. It's having fun, humor, and satire, criticism, etc. So this is the key feature of doggerel, and the tone of the poem is yes, humorous and playful. The focus is to satire someone, to make fun, and simply the focus is comedy and satire. Yes, that's it, guys. I hope this video would have been useful to you. Here, there has to be a space. Do like, share, and subscribe and comment. If you need any piece of work from literature, kindly comment. And and I'm Hephzibah Samuel.